Hi everyone and welcome back. In this lesson, we will learn useful expressions we can use to talk about permissions. As always, we will begin with a model dialogue and afterwards, we will explain all the expressions in detail. Can you finish early this Friday? I can't leave the office before 6. My boss lets me leave the office by 3. Now, permission means having the right or authority to do something. So if you ask your teacher whether you can go to the toilet or not, and the teacher says yes, then you have the permission to go to the toilet. Now, to ask someone if they have the permission to do something, we can use the modal verb can and ask a question like this. Can you finish early this Friday? Can you finish early this Friday? To ask someone if they are allowed to do something, we can ask, can you, and then use a verb to ask if they are allowed to do that verb. And the verb in this question is finish, which refers to getting off work, as in finishing one's day at work. Let's take a look at a few other example questions. Can you request a new laptop? Can you ask for a pay rise? Can you start the day a little later? Pay rise is a noun that refers to an increase in your salary. Okay, so let's now do a speaking practice of these questions. Can you finish early this Friday? Can you request a new laptop? Can you ask for a pay rise? Can you start the day a little later? That was great, well done. Let's take a look at how we can respond to these questions. I can't leave the office before 6. I can't leave the office before 6. When you don't have the permission to do something, you can say I can't and then use a verb and say what you are not allowed to do, which in this sentence is leave the office before 6. On the other hand, if you are allowed to do something, as in you have the permission to do something, then you can say I can and then use a verb to say that you are allowed to do the action of the verb. Let's take a look at a few more example sentences. I can't request a new laptop. I can ask for a pay rise next year. I can't start the day later than 9. Okay, so let's now do a speaking practice of these sentences. I can't leave the office before 6. I can't request a new laptop. I can ask for a pay rise next year. I can't start the day later than 9. Excellent job, well done. Finally, let's take a look at how we can say someone allows me to do something. My boss lets me leave the office by 3. My boss lets me leave the office by 3. Here the key word is the verb let. And we can use let to talk about being allowed to do something, as in having the permission to do something. And the key structure is someone lets me plus verb. And the verb is what I am allowed to do. And the permission is given by someone. So in this sentence, I am allowed to leave the office by 3. And the permission is given to me by my boss. The last important phrase is by 3. And when we use the preposition by with time, we're saying that that action happens at the latest 3. So my boss might let me leave at 1 or 2, and at the latest, I am allowed to leave the office at 3. Let's take a look at a few other example sentences. My company lets me request new laptops. My boss doesn't let us ask for a pay rise. My company lets us start the day at 10. And as you can see by the second example sentence, we can use the negative verb form to talk about someone not letting us do something. Okay, so let's now do a speaking practice of these sentences. My boss lets me leave the office by 3. My company lets me request new laptops. My boss doesn't let us ask for a pay rise. My company lets us start the day at 10. Excellent job, well done. Let's listen to the whole dialogue again. Can you finish early this Friday? I can't leave the office before 6. My boss lets me leave the office by 3. Okay, so let's now do a speaking practice of this dialogue. As always, we will do 2 speaking practices and all the lines will be on the screen. So when it's your turn, please read the lines and participate in the dialogue. Let's begin. Can you finish early this Friday? My boss lets me leave the office by 3. I can't leave the office before 6. Fantastic effort today, well done. Okay, so in this lesson, we learned useful expressions we can use to talk about permissions, being allowed or not being allowed to do something. The next lesson is the speaking drill lesson, and I will see you soon again in the lesson after that. Bye bye.